Postponing the Canadian Parliament is the only card left in Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's treacherous political hand. Justin Trudeau is fighting for his life against looming political, ethical, and economic bankruptcy, and he is about to drown in this chaos of his own creation. This political dinosaur, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, will surely face court charges if he postpones Parliament. But what else can he do? Time is not on Trudeau's side. No one believes in his postponements, pretexts, and lies, least of all his allies down south. Incoming President Trump is already owning Canada, calling it his 51st state, and promising to impose trade tariffs that will destroy millions of defenseless Canadians. The Canadian Liberal Party is hemorrhaging public support, and only a miracle can save these so-called liberals from political extinction.
Mr. Angus, what's that message?
This message is for my fellow Canadian parliamentarians to get their act together. What we're looking at right now, coming out of, as Mar-a-Lago moves to Washington, we're watching a grifter's parade. We've got loser billionaires like Kevin O'Leary coming down and to talk to Trump and saying he's going to cut a deal to sell out Canada. We got losers on Fox talking about taking over making us the 51st state. We all know what that's about. This is all about diversion. Donald is coming in at a time that he's going to bring maximum chaos, maximum havoc to the American people. So he's looking for a punching bag, and there's his nice, quiet Canadian neighbors.
But the desperate but doomed move to postpone the Canadian Parliament will have major consequences for Trudeau's leadership and for the people of Canada. It could wipe the Liberal Party off the face of the earth, and about time, too. So what has led to this shocking turn of events, and what does it mean for Canada's future? Let's break it all down. The soon-to-be ousted Canadian Prime Minister could defend this move by highlighting the need to tackle pressing national issues like social and economic survival, life-saving health reform, and crucial national security reform. But the timing of the move is suspiciously linked to the growing pressures and scandals surrounding the discredited and disgraced Trudeau government. The controversial move to postpone Parliament is a devious tactic to buy time and avoid tough debates in Parliament.
And for the future of the Canadian economy. On this side, we're investing in and leveraging technologies that are cutting emissions and creating good jobs in Come By Chance in Newfoundland and Labrador, for example. And we're making sure that it's no longer free to pollute while giving Canadians money back.
Why postpone Parliament at the end of January? Is Trudeau trying to dodge critical discussions, or is there a larger strategy at play? Either way, the decision to shut down Parliament will send shockwaves through Canada's political system, and the implications of this bold move are only just beginning to unfold.
In front of the flag. Please look in the direction of the photographer in front of the flag. Here sitting near Prime Minister, please look to the back in the direction of the photographers in front of the flag.
On August 18, 2020, Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau asked Governor-General Julie Payette to prorogue Parliament until September 23rd, aiming the aftermath of the We Charity scandal. Trudeau gave them the privilege of managing the $912 million Canada Student Service Grant Program, CSSG. But Justin got caught with his hands in the cash register. It was revealed that the We Charity had previously paid $425,000 to the corrupt relatives of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to appear at its events and promote its activities.
Questions is about influence. Did the Prime Minister or the Finance Minister influence the decision to ask the We organization to administer this multi-million-dollar student grant program? Trudeau testified today. As we heard, there was no influence exerted. Here's a rough timeline of events.
On April 5th, the Prime Minister spoke to Finance Minister Bill Morneau by phone about ways to help students whose jobs and volunteer work disappeared because of the pandemic. The next day, the Finance Department was tasked with looking into options. On April 7th or 8th, the date is in dispute, Morneau's office contacts the We organization, among other groups, to get their input on potential programs. On April 9th, We Charity sends an unsolicited proposal for a youth entrepreneurship.
Things took a serious turn when opposition MPs and constitutional experts filed a lawsuit arguing that Trudeau's decision to postpone Parliament was not only politically questionable, but also unconstitutional. The plaintiffs argued that under Canada's Constitution, Parliament cannot be suspended indefinitely without clear justification, claiming Trudeau's actions violated the rights of elected representatives and undermined the democratic process. The Canadian Constitution mandates that Parliament must meet regularly, and the power to prorogue or suspend Parliament should only be exercised in very specific, exceptional circumstances. The legal challenge gained momentum as public support grew for those calling for Parliament's return. Opposition parties, especially the Conservatives and New Democrats, has seized on these issues to accuse the Trudeau government of abusing its power.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister just proved my point. His tax doesn't stop floods, fires, or droughts. All it does is create more poverty. This also from a high-flying, high-taxing, high-carbon hypocrite who flew 92,000 kilometers in a fuel-guzzling, tax-funded private jet while he taxes single moms and seniors for heating their homes.
The decision to postpone Parliament will surely spark intense backlash from political opponents who have been quick to accuse Trudeau of overstepping his authority. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who has been and always will be a vocal critic of Trudeau's government, will surely waste no time in condemning the Prime Minister's dubious actions. Poilievre would label the move as a power grab designed to avoid accountability and push through controversial policies without public scrutiny. Meanwhile, the New Democrats, led by Jagmeet Singh, have also criticized the Prime Minister for attempting to bypass the parliamentary process. Singh has argued that the public has a right to have their voices heard through their elected representatives, and that suspending Parliament is an affront to democratic principles.
Justin Trudeau has to go. He has to resign. And because of that, all options are on the table. And we'll look at each vote and we'll make a decision. But now all options are on the table. Paul Wells.
Trudeau's decision will hurt his public image even more than ever before, with many Canadians feeling betrayed by his attempt to avoid the legislative process. Amid low trust in political institutions, this backlash could impact his electoral support to even lower than present. As the court case progresses, the Liberal Party will hemorrhage crucial swing voters, and as the charges gain traction, his political future is buried.
You know how long you've held up people picking up bags? I've been waiting in line down the road for 30 minutes while you've been here soaking up the race.
Thank you.
You know?
Excuse me.
You're not getting my vote. This is a free country. It's a free country, and I'm trying to speak to him, and he won't even acknowledge me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm sorry for your challenge.
It's not my challenge. I'm a volunteer trying to help someone save their home.
Sir, we've been filling sandbags as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, while you're here, nobody can pick up.
I am here.
While you're here, no one can pick
I
up
don't know
sand.
that, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, why don't you make yourself aware?
The core question remains, is the Prime Minister's move legal in the first place? To understand this, we need to delve into the intricacies of Canada's Constitution and the legal framework governing the operation of Parliament. The Canadian Constitution grants the Prime Minister significant powers, including the ability to advise the Governor-General to prorogue or dissolve Parliament. However, this power is not unlimited. Constitutional experts argue prorogation should be used only for crises, not to avoid debates or delay legislation. Some might argue that it sets a dangerous precedent, while others believe it's within his constitutional rights. The court's decision could reshape government operations in the future. A ruling against Trudeau would limit the executive's use of prorogation, shifting the balance of power between Canada's branches of government.
For losing control of himself. Oh my goodness. Screaming and hollering like that. Mr. Speaker, it's his press release that says that in Toronto, auto thefts are up 300% since he took office. His solution is to hold a summit. He held a summit on food prices. Food prices went up. He held a summit on housing. Housing costs doubled. How much is crime going to rise after all the bigwigs go to his summit?
As legal battles and political drama unfold, public opinion is playing a growing role. Polls show that Canadians are unhappy with Trudeau's policies and decisions. Postponing Parliament clearly undermines democracy and undermines the credibility of the political system. And given that the country is already facing several pressing challenges, including economic recovery, healthcare reform, and national security concerns, the Canadian people would not accept the Prime Minister's attempt to sidestep these issues. Many Canadians are concerned about the lack of transparency in the Canadian government, seeing postponement as a threat to democracy and trust in government. The public's perception of the Prime Minister and his government will play a critical role in determining the ultimate outcome. Will Trudeau be able to regain public trust, or will the ongoing legal challenges further alienate voters? It is extremely unlikely that Trudeau will survive this desperate move. The coming months are critical as legal challenges and political fallout unfold. Facing pressure to resume Parliament, Trudeau's main focus would be the court case. A ruling against him could damage his political standing and heighten public scrutiny, making it harder to advance his agenda. Trudeau will need to rebuild trust with Canadians, likely through greater transparency and a stronger focus on democratic principles. This is hardly possible. The opposition will aim to capitalize on the turmoil, pushing the narrative that Trudeau is abusing his power. With a federal election looming, the Conservatives and New Democrats will use this controversy to rally support and gain ground in key ridings. It is inconceivable that the Liberals can survive.
Riot that we saw on the streets of Montreal is what happens after 9 years of a woke Prime Minister pushing radical woke identity politics, dividing people by race, gender, vaccine status, religion, and more. On top of dividing, he erases our heroes and history, saying Canada has no core identity. He opened the borders to terrorists and lawbreakers. The results? Assassinations on Canadian soil, firebombings and terrorist attacks against places of worship, 251% more hate crime. It wasn't like this before this Prime Minister and won't be after he's gone. Why not an election so we can fix what he broke?
In the long run, the outcome could set an important precedent. This move might redefine the limits of executive power, or might reinforce the Prime Minister's ability to use prorogation as a political tool. Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Trudeau's decision to postpone Parliament would set the stage for a political showdown that will have lasting consequences for Canada's future.
Seniors, people living with disabilities, and people who just started working. What a slap in the face. Why is this Liberal government excluding the most vulnerable in our country?
Well, the NDP leader is giving Canadians whiplash with his latest flip-flop and the flop on the flip. First, he said he tore up his deal with the Liberal government.
So what's your take on this? Is Trudeau's decision a necessary move, or is it a dangerous overreach of power? One thing's for sure, the outcome of this case could reshape Canadian politics for years to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates on this developing story. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.